Good afternoon. At this time, we ask that you find your seats. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. At this time, we ask that you turn off or disable all electronic devices. Our ceremony will begin in 2 minutes. Welcome to Raymond J. Bone Armory and this afternoon's ceremony. It is my great honor to be a part of this special occasion. I'm Senior Master Sergeant Peterson, and I will be your Master of Ceremonies for today's events. We will start the ceremony with the time-honored tradition of the Change of Command ceremony, where Major General Alan Dohrmann will relinquish command of the North Dakota National Guard to Brigadier General Mitch Johnson. Following the change of command, we will move into the retirement ceremony for Major General Dohrmann. The presiding official for today's ceremonies is the Governor of the great state of North Dakota, the Commander-in-Chief of the North Dakota National Guard, the Honorable Doug Burgum. It is now time for the arrival of the official party, musical honors for Governor Burgum, the presentation of colors, the national anthem sang by Warrant Officer 1 Tessa Hogan, and the invocation given by Chaplain Captain Nelson. During the playing of honors, military personnel without headgear will stand at attention facing the honoree. Those with cover will salute. During the national anthem, all military members without headgear will stand at attention. Those with cover will salute. We ask that all civilians in attendance remove hats and recommend that you place your right hand over your heart during the national anthem. Please rise if you are able and remain standing.
By the dawn's early light, what so proudly we hailed the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free, in the home of the brave.
Ready, step.
Please join me in prayer as your faith tradition may allow. Almighty and merciful Lord, we approach you in this ceremony of both solemnity and joy, both heritage and honor, and we ask that you may be present, and we ask your blessing upon us this day as we witness the closing of one chapter and the beginning of another, the transition of leadership, the trust of a state, the call to support and defend the Constitution of both nation and state, and these freedoms that we cherish. As we honor the 41 distinguished, faithful, and vigilant years of service by Major General Alan Dohrmann, may we be inspired to continue the work in which he has so faithfully led us. We ask that you may richly bless General Dohrmann and his family, both today and in all of their tomorrows. But we are not here only to look back as we look forward to the challenges which lay before us in this ever-changing world, challenges which seem to loom ever larger on the horizon. We know that the work is not done. With the trail being well blazed by those leaders who have gone before us, may we proudly bear our nation's flag as we press into that unknown tomorrow with the courage of warriors and the trust of our nation. As Brigadier General Mitch Johnson assumes command of this North Dakota National Guard, we ask that you bless him with your wisdom and guidance, that you may strengthen him for the task as he leads those who are always ready and always there. May he, by your grace, carry well the trust, the responsibility, and the respect of those entrusted to him as the Adjutant General. And finally, I ask that you continue to bless these, our service members, as we continue to labor and sacrifice, protecting and securing that freedom that we all hold most precious. And I ask that you bless, strengthen, and honor our families, the families whose often unrecognized and unsung sacrifices enable us to meet the demands of the mission. I pray, asking these things in your precious and holy name, for our good and for your glory. Amen.
Thank you, Chaplain Nelson. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Today, we welcome a new commander, but we say goodbye to a respected commander who is closing out an outstanding career of more than 41 years of military service. Before we move forward, we extend a very warm welcome to the families of Major General Dohrmann and Brigadier General Johnson. Please hold your applause until the end. From the Dohrmann family, wife Becky, daughter Megan, sons Ted, Will, and Gabe, father Richard Dohrmann, wife Sharon, and sister and brother-in-law Mark and Cheryl Amundsen, and mother-in-law Pat Solberg. From the Johnson family, wife Michelle, their children Jack, Kylie, Mason, and Colton, and father-in-law Frank DeSantis. We also welcome other distinguished guests that are with us today. Please hold your applause until the end. First Lady Catherine Burgum, spouse of the Governor of North Dakota. U.S. Senator for North Dakota, Senator John Hoeven. U.S. Senator for North Dakota, Senator Kevin Kramer and wife Chris. Major General Gregory Porter, Wyoming Adjutant General. Major General Retired Alexander McDonald and wife Joan. Major General Retired Keith Bierke and wife Marion. Major General Retired Michael Haugen and wife Jan. Major General Retired Robert Schulte and wife Uella. North Dakota Major General Retired Murray Sagsveen. North Dakota National Guard Deputy Adjutant General, Brigadier General Jackie Huber. Brigadier General Tad Schauer, North Dakota National Guard Assistant Adjutant General, Air. North Dakota Army National Guard Commander, Brigadier General John Erickson and wife Janelle. Brigadier General Retired Jerry Engelman and wife Linda. Brigadier General Retired Darren Anderson. Brigadier General Retired Robert Schulte and wife Kathy. North Dakota Brigadier General Retired Ron Gangnes. Chief Warrant Officer 5, Rob Dohrmann, North Dakota Command Chief Warrant Officer. Command Sergeant Major Jason Magnuson, North Dakota National Guard Senior Enlisted Leader. Command Sergeant Major Eric Binstock, North Dakota Army National Guard State Command Sergeant Major. Command Chief Master Sergeant Levi Heller, North Dakota Air National Guard State Command Chief. We also welcome our Gold Star families, our families and friends, state and city leaders and representatives, command teams, honorary commanders, and all of the soldiers and airmen who are present. Thank you for being with us today. We will now proceed with the North Dakota National Guard Adjutant General Change of Command Ceremony. The Change of Command Ceremony is rooted in military history dating back to the 18th century during the reign of Frederick the Great of Prussia. At that time, organizational flags were developed with color arrangements and symbols unique to each unit. To this flag and its commander, the service members of the unit would dedicate their loyalty and trust. When a change of command was to take place, the flag was passed to the individual assuming the command. This gesture was performed in front of the unit so that all could see and witness their new leader assuming his dutiful position. He who held the flag also held the service member's allegiance. This symbolic tradition has survived throughout military history. Major General Dohrmann had a distinguished record of service to his country, the United States Army, and especially the North Dakota National Guard, where he served in an outstanding manner throughout his tenure. Equally distinctive, Brigadier General Johnson will assume command of the North Dakota National Guard. He has extensive knowledge, expertise, and dedication that will ensure mission success. Brigadier General Johnson began his career in 1997 when he was commissioned through the Reserve Officer Training Corps program at Michigan Tech and entered active duty. He was then selected for the Air Force Institute of Technology Civilian Institution program, earning his master's degree in 1998. While serving 12 years on active duty from 1997 to 2009, General Johnson served in multiple flying assignments with Air Mobility Command, Air Education and Training Command, and Air Force Special Operations Command. Upon leaving active duty, Brigadier General Johnson entered the North Dakota National Guard. He became an MQ-1, C-21, and MQ-9 pilot during this time. He served in multiple staff positions and commanded at the squadron and group levels, with his most recent assignment as the commander of the 119th Wing from March 2021 to January 2024. In April 2024, General Johnson was assigned as the North Dakota National Guard Chief of Staff, Air. He serves as an advisor to the Adjutant General on strategic planning, programs, and policy. He oversees Air National Guard staff assigned to Joint Force Headquarters. General Johnson represents the North Dakota Air National Guard at the national level on committees and provides liaison on National Guard Bureau policies as requested by the Adjutant General. Over the course of his career, General Johnson has flown tactical airlift, special operations attack, and remotely piloted aircraft worldwide, acquiring more than 5,500 flight hours, including more than 1,100 combat hours, earning a rating of command pilot. He has served overseas on 6 different deployments. Flowers will now be presented on behalf of the officers, soldiers, and airmen of the North Dakota National Guard. The presentation of a bouquet of roses to the outgoing and incoming commander's spouses has long been a change of command tradition. The roses, with proper care and nurturing, can grow wherever the soldier or airman was assigned. The petal symbolizes beauty and tenderness, while the stem signifies strength, endurance, and support, all characteristics of a commander's spouse. We welcome Michelle Johnson and present her with a bouquet of closed yellow roses presented by Senior Airman Greta James. Closed yellow roses are symbolic of the beginning of a tour of duty, representing the new friendships that she will make as she continues to be an integral part of our North Dakota National Guard family. In time, the buds will bloom and blossom, as will Michelle's relationship with the military members, their families, and the civilian workforce of this command. Brigadier General and Michelle Johnson's children will also be receiving a signed Love North Dakota license plate signed by Governor Burgum. At this time, Specialist Jonathan Nissler will present a bouquet of open red roses to Becky Dohrmann. Open bloomed red roses are symbolic of the completion of a tour of duty and an expression of thanks for Becky's dedication and commitment to our military and communities over the last 9 years. The color red symbolizes the love that she leaves behind. The full bloom symbolizes the beauty and fulfillment of her time with us as the First Lady of the North Dakota National Guard. Major General and Becky Dohrmann's children will also be receiving a signed Love North Dakota license plate signed by Governor Burgum, and Megan is receiving red roses. At this time, I am honored to welcome to the podium the Governor of the great state of North Dakota and the North Dakota National Guard Commander-in-Chief, the Honorable Doug Burgum.
Good afternoon. Thank you all for being here, and thank you, Senior Master Sergeant Peterson, doing a fantastic job. I've been doing a great job at MC. Let's give it up for him, too. Thank you. All of our esteemed guests here today, past and present leaders of the National Guard, thank you all for being here. I want to kick it off with also a shout out to Lieutenant Governor Tammy Miller, her husband Craig. Tammy has played a key role in driving forward our goal here in North Dakota to have this be the most military-friendly state in the nation. She was leading Task Force Mine Military Issues in North Dakota. It's been renamed the North Dakota Military Commission, but I do want to start off with some gratitude. Thank you, Lieutenant Governor Miller, for that. And of course, we went through, the Command Sergeant went through Master Sergeant went through a whole list of dignitaries, but I do want to, when I get to every one of these National Guard events, I look down, and we're the only state in the nation where often our entire CODEL is there. We got 2 of the 3 today, but I do want to just say thank you always, Senator Hoeven, Senator Kramer, Chris. What you guys do for the military in our country, what you do for the North Dakota National Guard, I've got to believe out of the 100 senators, you've done more back home state National Guard events than anybody, and then you take that and you go back to the committees you serve on at the highest levels to help ensure national security for us around the world, and to have great resources for our National Guard at home. It shows. Thank you for all you're doing. Let's give it up for our CODEL. And of course, the third member of that is our Representative Kelly Armstrong. He couldn't be here today, but he's part of that trio that makes it happen for us. So way to go, team. Today, as you all know, is why you're here. Today's a historic day, and it's a day of celebration, and it certainly is a day of gratitude. We have two separate ceremonies going on here back to back, and of course, we're welcoming a new Adjutant General, and we're saying goodbye to a fabulous one that served us so well. But as Senator, formerly Governor Hoeven knows, he knows this. The highest and most solemn honor being the governor of North Dakota is the is the honor of serving as the Commander-in-Chief of the North Dakota National Guard. Because truly, the North Dakota National Guard is the most professional, highest skilled, best trained National Guard in the nation. We hear it over and over. Whenever you folks are deployed, it comes back. I've heard it from the highest levels. I just had a chance to have dinner 2 weeks ago with Randy George, Chief of the Army. He sends his greeting, communicating with him this morning. He wishes he could be here to greet both of you. He wants to get to North Dakota to find out what the best National Guard unit looks like in the country. Let's get him here in the next couple months. But for all of you, give yourselves a hand. Let's give it up for our great North Dakota National Guard. Something that we all know is that if you have a high-performing organization, those high-performing organizations always have high-performing leaders. And the tradition of high-performing leadership and high performance in the North Dakota National Guard, both our Army Guard and our Air Guard, has gone back and back for decades. Many of those former leaders are here today, and we're passing the baton to keep that leadership going. We're here to witness the leadership of the North Dakota Guard literally pass the flag from one highly decorated Adjutant General to another highly capable incoming Adjutant General. These two exceptional individuals that are here on stage with me have their own distinguished backgrounds, their own incredibly impressive records of service, and their own leadership styles. But they do have one thing deeply in common, and that's in common with all the past leaders that have led this organization, many who are here today, which is they have an unwavering commitment to North Dakota National Guard, the state of North Dakota, the United States of America, and the citizens who are proud to live in the land of the free and the home of the brave. We just heard the description of Brigadier General's impressive service record. And through his 12 years in the Air Force and his 15 years in the National Guard, Mitch has demonstrated exceptional leadership skills at all levels. And these skills and experiences, both at home and abroad, as you heard, 6 tours overseas, serving in combat, will serve him extremely well as he becomes only the 22nd Adjutant General in the history of our state, only the 22nd, which turns 135 years old on November 2nd. So if we could, let's give it up for all the past leadership and the great leadership tradition that we have here. This past week, we observed the 23rd anniversary of one of the darkest days in our nation's history, the 9/11 terrorist attacks. And whether it's 10 years, 20 years, 23 years, or 50 years from now, I don't think we're ever going to forget, just like we haven't forgotten Pearl Harbor. We're not going to forget the day that nearly 3,000 individuals that perished, and the firefighters and the police and the first responders, the brave men and women who risked their own lives to rescue others. The men and women in uniform who then, many who enlisted off of that, made the ultimate sacrifice in the global war on terror, including 29 service members from North Dakota that we remember, not just on 9/11, but every day. May those that served in the global war on terror and gave the ultimate sacrifice, may they rest in peace, and may their families understand that we honor them as well. During the global war on terror, there was a big change in how our nation viewed the National Guard. Our National Guard evolved from just a strategic reserve, a good group of folks to have on hand, but they evolved into an operational force with 24/7 missions, both here at home and around the world, while still fulfilling its important public safety and emergency response missions at home. That brings us to the fact that we have had during that past 23 years, almost continuously, we've had North Dakota National Guard units deployed, both here and abroad. And whether it's protecting our own capital, or whether it's serving abroad or serving on our southern border. And let's not forget that right now, currently, we've got folks that are deployed, including 125 North Dakota Army National Guard soldiers of the 817th Engineering deployed at the southwest border. General Dohrmann and I and other leaders have had an opportunity to go down there and be with them, and I can assure you that the mission that they're working on is of important strategic and national security for our country. We've also got members serving overseas, 10 Air National Guard members deployed overseas. We thank them, And of course, we have our own happy hooligans right here every day, often working on global missions, even while based out of and supporting those missions and sometimes flying those missions right out of North Dakota. But for all of these, and especially those that are overseas, we keep them in our hearts and our thoughts and our prayers for safe returns and for effective completion of their missions. Brigadier General Johnson's had a front row seat on this Guard's evolution the last 23 years. In his time with the Happy Hooligans, one of the most regarded Air Guard units in our country, his experience with the latest military technology, he's worked on policy, strategic planning, along with being a battle-tested pilot of both manned and unmanned aircraft. As the commander of the 119th Wing, the Happy Hooligans, he led nearly 1,200 personnel whose missions included flying the MQ-9 Reaper, providing intelligence and targeting missions that were actively going on, coming out of Fargo, accomplishing expeditionary support functions and ensuring the important missile field security for the vast number of missile installations that are managed through the missile wing at our Minot Air Force Base. And of course, the Minot Air Force Base is special, only base in the nation that has two missions, both a bomber mission and a missile mission. General Johnson's skills and experience will fulfill his dual roles as the Adjutant General of North Dakota National Guard. Here in North Dakota, we work our Adjutant Generals hard. They also act as the director of the Department of Emergency Services. And within emergency services, there are two divisions, Homeland Security and State Radio. Both of these are essential organizations that help serve our state and help support law enforcement and emergencies across the state at the local level. And we know that with his both wartime and National Guard experiences, he's going to bring to that the absolute highest commitment and competence. Under his leadership, our National Guard and Department of Emergency Services will continue to play a critical role in the security of our nation and our state. And of course, we know that those organizations, like every agency in the state of North Dakota, are focused on 6 powerful words, and that's empowering people, improving lives, and inspiring success. This ceremony is a reminder that the importance of strong leadership cannot be overstated. General George S. Patton said back during World War II, "Wars may be fought with weapons, but they are won by men. It is the spirit of the men who follow and the spirit of the man who leads that gains that victory." Brigadier General Johnson, today we bestow our confidence on you. We know that you will bring your skills, your knowledge, and your experience, and we know that you will bring that winning spirit to lead the great men and the great women of the North Dakota National Guard. Congratulations.
Thank you, Governor Burgum. Command Sergeant Major Jason Magnuson, Senior Enlisted Leader for the North Dakota National Guard, will retrieve the colors. From the earliest of times, warriors used banners or flags to identify specific units and to serve as a rallying point for troops on the battlefield. Thus, the organizational color or flag became a symbol of the command. In more recent times, the colors represent the unity and loyalty of its soldiers and airmen. Brigadier General Mitch Johnson will now assume command of the North Dakota National Guard from Major General Alan Dohrmann. The keeper of the colors is the Senior Enlisted Leader. The passing of the colors from the Senior Enlisted Leader to the outgoing commander signifies his last act of allegiance to his commander. The passing of the colors from the outgoing commander to the North Dakota National Guard Commander-in-Chief and Governor of North Dakota signifies that the unit is never without senior leadership. The passing of the colors from the North Dakota National Guard Commander-in-Chief and Governor to the incoming commander signifies the passing of his trust and the responsibility for its soldiers, airmen, and civilian workforce. The passing of the colors back to the Senior Enlisted Leader signifies the confidence that the commander places in the non-commissioned officer corps, and it's the Senior Enlisted Leader's first act of allegiance to his new commander. Major General Dohrmann, you may take your seat. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, Governor Burgum will conduct the oath of office for the Adjutant General.
Please raise your right hand.
I, Mitchell R. Johnson,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
to uphold the Constitution of the United States
to uphold the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of North Dakota,
and the Constitution of the State of North Dakota,
and that I will faithfully fulfill my duties
and that I will faithfully fulfill my duties
of the office of Adjutant General
of the office of Adjutant General
to the best of my abilities,
to the best of my abilities.
so help me God.
So help me God.
It is now my great honor that I present to you the North Dakota National Guard Adjutant General, Brigadier General Mitch Johnson.
Appreciate it. Congratulations. Thanks. Thank you. I feel fortunate to be your next Adjutant General, and I'd like to start by expressing gratitude. First, I'd like to thank my wife, my partner and biggest supporter. I'd like to thank my wonderful parents who are watching virtually, couldn't be here. And I'd like to thank our families, many of whom traveled a significant distance to be here. You have been so supportive to Michelle and I. Thank you. Now that I've thanked my family, I'd like to thank the families of the North Dakota National Guard and Department of Emergency Services, as well as your civilian employers. We do not serve alone, and without your support, we could not accomplish our missions. Thank you. Thank you to Governor Burgum for selecting me for this position. Thank you to General Dohrmann for his years of leadership and mentorship. I have big shoes to fill, literally. Thanks to our elected officials and their representatives. We greatly appreciate your support. Also, thank you to our retired tags and generals and all our retirees, as well as civic leaders, honorary commanders, military affairs committees, employee support of the Guard and Reserve members. You have all been the best teammates. Thank you to friends and joint partners who have been so supportive over the years and have truly made my military journey so amazing. A big thanks to our teammates across the Joint Force, especially at Minot and Grand Forks Air Force bases. I feel that we have built a great military team, North Dakota, and I look forward to working with you. To all the commanders, warrant officers, chiefs, non-commissioned officers in our formations, thank you for your leadership. It's usually you who are accomplishing the mission and leading the people. You're the leaders our soldiers and airmen look up to. I will continue to expect a lot out of you. Thank you to our North Dakota Department of Emergency Services. You are ready every day, and I look forward to continuing to work with you. And now to the more than 4,100 actively serving soldiers and airmen of the North Dakota National Guard. Thank you for stepping up to serve your state and nation. Many of you have deployed overseas, deployed to the southern border, or worked in fighting floods or the pandemic. Our Bravo Battery, 1st of the 188th Air Defense Artillery, has recently returned from overseas. And our 817th Engineering Battalion is currently deployed, and the 142 Engineering Battalion and 119th Wing have upcoming deployments. Even as I speak, some of our mission sets are supporting combatant commanders from home station, securing missile fields and our bases. Through it all, you have been ready when called. You are who our state and nation look to for national defense and community support. The term unprecedented has been used quite a bit over the last 8 years, describing a worldwide pandemic, domestic operations support, or military conflict around the world. Through these unprecedented times, you have been there for our state and nation, and you've never missed a mission. As we move forward, we face a turbulent and unpredictable world. Our senior leaders have been very clear on their guidance. China is our pacing challenge. Russia, North Korea, Iran, and terrorists are ever present. Cyber and information domains are a daily battlefield. There will be new unprecedented challenges that we will face. And whether they're at home or around the world, we will face them as a team. Our North Dakota National Guard, Department of Emergency Services, and all our partners. We will work together to outthink and outmaneuver whatever adversary comes our way. I will expect a lot out of you. I will challenge you and your leadership teams to continue to find ways to train with joint partners and other teammates and to build the relationships and readiness we need. I know that you will rise to the challenge. You've proven that time and again. In closing, our military and emergency services are a team sport, and I couldn't ask for a better team. Thank you.
Thank you and congratulations again, Brigadier General Johnson. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes our change of command ceremony. Immediately following a musical selection from the great 188th Army Band, we will begin the retirement ceremony for Major General Dohrmann. We will now begin the retirement ceremony in honor of Major General Alan Dohrmann. Serving as proffers today for this special occasion are Master Sergeant Maria Yurchek, North Dakota Air National Guard Senior Non-Commissioned Officer of the Year, and Sergeant Max Dahl, 2024 and 2025 North Dakota Army National Guard Non-Commissioned Officer of the Year runner-up. Major General Dohrmann began his career more than 4 decades ago in 1983 when he commissioned as an infantry officer through the Reserve Officer Training Corps, the ROTC program. While serving 7 years on active duty, he served as a rifle, anti-tank, and scout platoon leader and a company executive officer in Germany from 1984 to 1987. Upon relocation to Okinawa, Japan, he branch transferred to the Signal Corps and served as a Signal Center Director for the 1st Battalion, 1st Special Forces Group from 1987 to 1990. Upon leaving active duty, Major General Dohrmann entered the North Dakota National Guard. He transferred to the Engineer Branch and served in a multitude of positions ranging from Battalion Staff Officer, Military Academy Instructor, Battalion Operations Officer, and Battalion Executive Officer. In January of 2000, he accepted a transfer to the Judge Advocate General Corps and served as a Judge Advocate for the North Dakota National Guard through 2004. In 2004, Major General Dohrmann deployed to Kosovo as the Command Judge Advocate supporting Kosovo Forces 6 Alpha. Upon his return in 2006, he transferred back to the Engineer Corps and held the positions of Director of Personnel for Joint Force Headquarters, Joint Chief of Staff, Land Component Commander, and Deputy Adjutant General. In August 2009, he again deployed to Kosovo, serving as Commanding General of Kosovo Forces 12, Task Force Falcon, where he commanded a multinational force of 2,200 service members. Major General Dohrmann returned stateside in October 2010 and was reappointed as the Deputy Adjutant General for the North Dakota National Guard. In 2015, Major General Dohrmann was appointed as the Adjutant General of the North Dakota National Guard. As Adjutant General, Major General Dohrmann commands more than 4,100 North Dakota soldiers and airmen and supervises approximately 1,325 full-time federal, state, and contract employees. He also serves as the Director of Emergency Services, consisting of 2 divisions, the Division of Homeland Security, and the Division of State Radio Communications. During his time as Adjutant General, he was commander of 25 different state active duty operations, to include Dakota Access Pipeline and COVID operations. Over Major General Dohrmann's distinguished career, he received 29 federal awards for excellence and service to the United States Army and the North Dakota National Guard. Additionally, he received 10 state awards, 2 unit awards, and the Expert Infantry and Parachutist badges. Major General Dohrmann has continuously displayed a tireless work ethic, concerns for soldiers and airmen, and unparalleled service as the leader of the North Dakota National Guard. He served as a standard bearer and role model for all to follow. His service can be characterized by loyalty, duty, and dedication to the soldiers and airmen of the North Dakota National Guard. At this time, we ask Major General Dohrmann to move to center stage. In honor of General Dohrmann, please rise if you are able for the playing of honors. If you are in uniform, please stand at attention facing the honoree. Please be seated. For over 41 years, this soldier stood watch while many stayed home. This husband and father stood watch while many of you were still in school or before you were born. Today, we are here to say, General Dohrmann, your watch stands relieved. Relieved by those you trained, relieved by those you mentored, and relieved by those that you led for over 41 years. At this time, Specialist Gavin Rood, newest trained service member in the North Dakota Army National Guard, will render Major General Dohrmann his last salute before he officially retires.
Major General Dohrmann, you are relieved.
Governor Burgum, please move to center stage to present Major General Dohrmann with his retirement award. Major General Dohrmann is being presented the North Dakota Distinguished Service Medal. Please stand if you are able. Attention to orders. Major General Alan Dohrmann is recognized for an extraordinary military career spanning over 41 years, 33 of which were spent with the North Dakota National Guard. From 15 May 1991 to 30 September 2024, Major General Dohrmann distinguished himself by leading 25 state emergency operations to include activation for the Dakota Access Pipeline, coronavirus pandemic, and numerous other flood, fire, and security operations. Major General Dohrmann forged strong relationships with our elected officials, government agencies, and stakeholders, leading to numerous legislative wins significantly benefiting our soldiers and airmen and the organization as a whole. The remarkable accomplishments and phenomenal leadership of Major General Dohrmann culminate a long and distinguished career and reflect great credit upon himself, Joint Force Headquarters, the North Dakota National Guard, and the state of North Dakota. Please remain standing for the reading of the retirement order. Attention to orders. Special Order Number GO-254-03, dated 10 September 2024, effective 30 September 2024. Major General Alan S. Dohrmann is relieved from the North Dakota Army National Guard and transferred to the Retired Reserve effective 1 October 2024, per National Guard Regulation 635-100 in the grade of Major General by authority of the Department of the Army. Please be seated. At this time, Governor Doug Burgum will present Major General Dohrmann with his retirement awards. Please hold your applause until the end. Major General Dohrmann is receiving a retirement certificate from the state of North Dakota for his retirement, signed by Governor Doug Burgum. Next, in honor of his retirement, Major General Dohrmann is being presented a North Dakota state flag flown over the state capitol on September 14th, 2024. Please accept this flag as a token of appreciation for your loyal and dedicated service to your state. Although not being presented today, Major General Dohrmann also receives the following in honor of his retirement: a certificate of appreciation for service in the Armed Forces of the United States, signed by Joseph R. Biden, Commander-in-Chief, and a certificate of retirement signed by the United States Army Chief of Staff, General Randy A. George. At this time, Specialist Jonathan Nissler, 2025 North Dakota Army National Guard Soldier of the Year, will escort Mrs. Becky Dohrmann to the stage. Governor Doug Burgum will now present Becky with the Department of the Army Certificate of Appreciation, which reads, "To all who shall see these presents, greetings. This is to certify that Mrs. Rebecca Dohrmann, on the occasion of the retirement of her spouse from the United States Army, has earned grateful appreciation for her own unselfish, faithful, and devoted service. Her unfailing support and understanding helped to make possible her spouse's lasting contribution to the nation. United States Army Chief of Staff, General Randy A. George." At this time, I again welcome to the podium the Honorable Doug Burgum.
I led off today saying that today was going to be a day of celebration and a day of gratitude, but for many of us who've had the honor of working with and serving alongside of General Dohrmann, today is a day of mixed emotions, because we celebrate with gratitude his incredible career, but we all know that we're going to miss his leadership and his friendship. It's always great to see a well-deserving officer reach retirement, but it's hard to say goodbye to somebody who has made such an enormous positive impact on the state of North Dakota, on our nation, and the North Dakota National Guard. When I asked Major General Dohrmann, when he handed me his retirement letter, I said, can you just give me the favorite part of your 40-plus years in the military? And he said, "I just did." Of course, I'm kidding, because anybody that knows him, we've all benefited from his dry humor. That's the kind of thing that he might have said, but I do want to say that you can't, the truth is that you don't dedicate more than 40 years of your life protecting our state and nation, defending our freedom, unless you truly love what you do, and that showed in everything that he's done. But I want to say again that anyone who knows General Dohrmann, and everybody in this room does, knows that he's had a passion for answering the call. The call of duty manifested itself in an impeccable service record, an unwavering commitment to our soldiers and airmen under his command. Their safety and well-being and that of our citizens has always been a top priority. And one thing I've observed in every meeting I've ever been with him, he's always thinking about the families of the people that serve. Not just the families of people who are deployed overseas, but the families that are here at home And he thinks about how those families, when they've been overseas, how they're getting integrated back in when they come home. And he knows that because he's been there himself. He's been someone who's been deployed when he was a father and had to come home, understands the sacrifices that are made when you're a parent and then you go on a years-long mission overseas. But he made his mission to ensure that our National Guard members were well-trained and well-prepared to succeed in their mission, whether it was in surveilling our southern border for illegal activity, of which there's plenty, or safeguarding our communities during major floods or flash floods, protecting our nuclear weapons here across the northern plains, or patrolling the skies and providing air cover at home or overseas. On December 15th, 2016 was the day that I was sworn in as governor. And that was an interesting time to one day be a citizen and the next day be the commander-in-chief of the North Dakota National Guard, because the North Dakota Access Pipeline protest was running full tilt. I think we had over 700 National Guard men and women that were deployed at that time. So my very first experience with General Dohrmann was jumping right into the middle of what was one of the largest and longest extended protests on American soil in U.S. history. Tensions were at all-time high. North Dakota was under a national and international microscope to a degree that we had never seen before. The amount of press that was there, stories every day on the front page of all the leading papers around the world. And when I say tensions were high, and many of you that served there know that they were very high. We were just one mistake away, one trigger pull away from something exploding into something that could have become another Kent state, putting a mar on our state and our nation and our relations with those in our state at a level we'd never seen. But what we had when I met that first day in the middle of that incredible emergency was a leader who was calm, who was highly capable, who had great relations with our law enforcement partners, understood his mission and understood the tools that we could bring to try to achieve a peaceful and professional outcome. And with that calm leadership and working with our law enforcement partners, that's exactly what happened. 76 days later, it was resolved. There were no deaths. It was resolved peacefully, something that people felt couldn't have happened. But the Dakota Access Pipeline protest, it turned out in the period of time that General Dohrmann was serving, it was just one of many historic and extraordinary events that called for National Guard response. There was the life-saving work during the response of COVID-19, which was North Dakota Guard's largest and longest state mobilization in state history. 736 consecutive days of response and over 133,000 personnel days. And we know that through that work, particularly the early work that was done with some of our long-term care facilities, lives were saved absolutely in North Dakota by the work of General Dohrmann and our North Dakota National Guard. And then we had lots of other things that were going on, multiple flooding and wildfire events. In 2022, just short time ago, Blackhawks rushed into place, placed 94 one-ton sandbags, 2 5-ton water pumps to stabilize the Bourbonnais Dam and save the city of Cavalier. Literally, the dam was going to break. The ground was so filled with, saturated with moisture, you could not get a vehicle in there. The only way to save that dam was with helicopters, and they got it done. Earlier this spring, breaking up a major ice dam on the Missouri River that threatened homes in Bismarck when we were having the highest flooding we'd had since 2011. Again, accomplished with skill and expertise for the North Dakota National Guard. And then some might remember, it was just 2021, saving the town of Medora from a wildfire. And that's just not like a statement. If any of you were out there, that fire burned literally right up to the edge of town. And how in the world did we have the National Guard helicopters get there in time for that? Well, I can tell you there's a story behind each of these stories, and what you want in a leader and what we've had in our state in a leader like General Dohrmann is that when you have the phrase that says always ready, always there, that can just be a phrase. But for General Dohrmann, he took that seriously. Always ready meant that you anticipate and that you prepare and that you train. And in the case of Medora, he came to me several days earlier and said, sir, you know, we're having a lot of wildfires out west, and I got a feeling someone's going to call and they're going to need our Blackhawks to try to do some work. But our pilots, you know, they've got jobs. This is the Guard. I got pilots that are in Minot, pilots that are in Devil's Lake. The helicopters are here. If you ask me to get them out, you know, it could take me 24 hours to get everybody in place to deploy that. And I said, yes. And he said, well, I've got an idea. He said, I've got some extra dollars that we can use for training. How about I bring all those pilots in and the crews in and get everybody here and maintenance, have those things ready to go, just in case. So he got the firemen into the fire station. It wasn't 48 hours later when we got the call from Medora and they said, we're going to lose this town if we don't have helicopters. And those guys got there in the nick of time. And if he hadn't anticipated, if he hadn't believed in always there and always ready, we'd have lost that historic town in the state of North Dakota, the Historic Society. We'd have lost everything. I mean, the fires burned right across away from one of the most historic buildings in the state, the Chateau de Nemours. This is just one example. Every one of these other stories and many others we don't have time to cover, it was his thinking, his presenting of viable options, thinking through what could be done. And I'll just tell you, there's a similar one that happened with those protests in Fargo. That could have gone a very different way, but General Dohrmann said, hey, there might be protests. Maybe we should just have everybody train in Fargo this weekend. And there we were with all the people that had experience at the Dakota Access Pipeline, and we shut down those protests in Fargo so fast because General Dohrmann was there, and we were there to help and support our local law enforcement. Anticipation and preparation. As I say, through all these crises, he provided me with sound analysis, viable and creative options, clear risk assessments, and of course, in the end, the courage and the willingness to lead when a decision had been made on our direction. Major General Dohrmann oversaw multiple deployments of Guard units overseas and to our nation's southwest border and to our national capital region. But on the home front, he's also been incredible. He guided the expansion of training facilities and capabilities at Camp Grafton and the development of the Department of Emergency Services 24/7 Watch Center. I could go on because the list is long, and the positive impact on lives saved and bad outcomes averted is actually immeasurable. But throughout all these various crises, projects, and mission, Major General Dohrmann never let up on his shared efforts to make North Dakota the most military-friendly state in the nation, which again only underscores his unparalleled commitment to his command. In the legislative process, the North Dakota National Guard competes with budget and capital expenditures against higher ed, water projects, K-12, the Department of Transportation, and dozens of others. But during his time in office, General Dohrmann's not only been calm during emergencies, he's been calm, clear, direct, and built solid relationships with our appropriators. He's laid out the vision for our state of North Dakota, and he's built those relationships. During his time in office, there's been over $100 million of capital projects, both state and federal, whether it's at Camp Grafton or our new close to $30 million armory that's being built in Dickinson. And we've got a long list of accomplishments as we've worked to try to have the state be the most military-friendly state, but it all begins with relationships. And when I look out in the audience today, some people that weren't acknowledged that I know they're here because of their relationship, but I see Lieutenant Journey Drew Wrigley, and I see Julie Fedorchak and Sherry Haugen-Hoffett from PSC, and I see Doug Goring, who leads our Ag Commission. I look over here and I see Mayor Decker from Dickinson, who's also served. I see legislators around the room that are here. These are all people that wouldn't have to be here. They wouldn't have to be here today, but they're here because of the respect and the relationships that they've built with General Dohrmann. And so if I could, these capital expenditures, the support from the legislature, the support from other elected officials and understanding how important it is, I know that he would want me to do this, but I'd like to have, if you're a legislator, past or present, if you're an elected official, past or present in the state of North Dakota that's supported and been here because you've worked with General Dohrmann, if you could all please just stand up and let's share our thanks with all of you for everything you're doing for the military in North Dakota. It's relationships with like these and having people understand the importance of the military to our state and nation where where we as a state, we've exempted military and retiree pay from state income tax. We've expanded tuition assistance for Guard members. We've cut red tape for military child care providers. Those are a few of the significant policy changes, and of course, we're not done. As I said at the outset with Lieutenant Governor Miller, we've rebranded Task Force Mine as the North Dakota Military Commission. We've established a cross-agency military-friendly working group led by the North Dakota National Guard to support the developing proposals related to health care, child care, licensure for trailing spouses, and more. With Major General Dohrmann's guidance, this group is working hard to identify opportunities to better serve our service members, veterans, and their families, and to eliminate the burdensome hurdles and regulations in state law and policy. As he relinquishes command, Major General Dohrmann leaves behind a legacy of a high-performing organization distinguished by hardworking, accountable, strong leadership teams, well-trained soldiers and airmen who are prepared to take on any challenge. It's not just words to this organization. Always ready and always there is an operating mode. We also know that when soldiers serve, the whole family serves, and Major General Dohrmann never hesitates to credit Becky and all of the military spouses with what they do to hold it all together, especially during overseas deployments. And we're so thankful to Becky and Megan and Ted, Will, Gabe. Thank you all for being here today, for your incredible support. We know that families sacrifice over the years, and thank you for sharing your dad with us. Thank you for lending us this outstanding leader. General. Major General Dohrmann, the state of North Dakota, the U.S. military, and our nation are all better because of your service. Congratulations on a well-deserved retirement. We wish you and Becky all the best in your future adventures. And speaking of career changes, I just have to say that I've worked with, over my long career in the private, now public sector, I've worked with hundreds of capable, smart, talented executives. Some of them, thought they were funny. But I have to tell you, when I look at that whole list of people I've worked with, this is not a joke. This is actually a serious idea for retirement. But, lawyers generally, aren't that funny. People don't just, when they meet a general, they don't just go, oh, that general, he was hilarious. We got a guy who's a lawyer and a general, and he's hilarious. And I just think it's a unique combination. So I got a serious, I think retirement isn't the wrong word. I think the new career, I think you're the only person I've met in my life that I've ever said this to at a retirement event who could actually go on tour and make a fabulous living as a stand-up comic. And I just think you ought to think about that. Theodore Roosevelt once said, far and away the best prize in life is the opportunity to work hard at work worth doing. General Dohrmann, you caught that great prize. From a grateful state, a grateful nation, on behalf of Lieutenant Governor Tammy Miller, First Lady Catherine, everybody that's here present today, family, friends, and all you've served with, we say to you, thank you, sir, and at ease.
It is with absolute great honor that I welcome to the podium Major General Alan Dohrmann, U.S. Army, retired.
Nice job, by the way. I got to do everything. Okay. Oh, boy. So many. This isn't my binder. Yeah. We'll survey the audience on that one, maybe. No. Yeah, I always like when they say, yeah, he's funny, and then you got to get him and talk. It's like, what if you're not funny? and I don't know if I will be. And if my family thinks I'm blowing them off, I'm not. But my daughter is just a mess. And if I look at her, I will be a mess too. So I'm not going to look at my family. So no offense. I got her out of the corner of my eye. She's a mess. But thanks for being here. You know, I've given a lot of crappy speeches over the years. This might be the hardest crappy speech I've ever had to put together. And I'm not going to talk about a rising China or Iraq or I'm sorry, Iran. I forgot we got things figured out in Iraq. Iran, North Korea, Russia. Frankly, the chaplain did a pretty good job of laying out the strategic environment in the opening prayer. General Johnson kind of supplemented that, so I think we're good there. And frankly, I'm not going to have a whole lot of input on the way forward with the National Guard. So today, I'm really going to spend some time, probably all my time, giving gratitude. I tried really hard to get this down to 10 minutes. And according to the word count, I looked it up on Google, I had the right number of words for 10 minutes. But then I did one run through in my office, and every time a squirrel came running by in my head, I'm like, oh, maybe I'll add that in, and it came out to 16 minutes. So this could go a full half hour. But I leave after this, so if you're upset at me, you know, get over it. And some of this, since my retirement was announced back in April, I've been saying farewell and sharing appreciation since then. But when I really reflect on all that I need, all the folks I need to thank, I think I've only scratched the surface. So bear with me. I'll talk about some individuals, I'll talk about some groups, but really just want to share gratitude because nobody gets here alone. I've had a lot of help. I'll start with the governor. Thank you for your kind words. We met, as you mentioned, in a challenging time. It's the only time during my time with Governor Burgum where I was probably smarter than him on what was going on. That lasted about a day and a half, and then he was up to speed, and then it's like, all right, hold on, here we go. But nobody cares more about the North Dakota National Guard. When you say it's your greatest honor to be the Commander-in-Chief, I have no doubt in my mind about that, and you're our strongest advocate. So, Governor, thank you for everything you've done for us. Lieutenant Governor, I read the script. We should not have missed you in the opening, but your contributions. I don't know if you were a big military supporter before you joined Team ND, but I know since you've been here, between the work we did on the pandemic, your support in the Military Commission, and your support of the museum, just an incredible advocate and friend, so thank you for that. Our congressional delegate, okay, yep. I didn't put any applause lines in here, so if you feel compelled, just let her rip, because I never know. It all looks kind of blah to me, but if you think it's good, let her rip. Our congressional delegation, both senators here, and I always talk about this, only in North Dakota, maybe in Wyoming. I know you guys are small too, but will almost your entire Codel show up at every event? So thank you, both Senator Hoeven and Senator Kramer, for being here today. I got a note from Congressman Armstrong, but we got a great team. We might have the best team. Well, I shouldn't say we do have the best team in DC. I know how much you support our military. I know specifically how much you support and love your North Dakota National Guard, so thank you for that. Yeah, well. All right, people, if we applaud every time, we're going to be here all day, so let's not get carried away. For our legislators, thank you for your support. I consider a lot of you friends, but based on the low number that turned out, maybe I don't have as many friends in the legislature as I thought, but I know I have friends with the ones that are here. So thank you so much for being here, and thank you for your service. And Senator Wabma, you should be up front, but I see you back there, but thank you all for your service. Brigadier General Johnson and Michelle, congratulations. We're all stewards of the profession. And one of our main jobs is to make sure that whoever replaces us does a better job than we do. And I have no doubt that I've succeeded in that mission. I wish both of you the best of luck. I know you're the right team. I know you're the right guy to lead this organization into the future. So congratulations. You can applaud on that one. I think we have some cabinet leaders here, maybe. I know Greg's dad's here. He's not a cabinet leader, but he's pretty close. But thank you for being here. The chancellor is here. Thank you guys for being here, for being collaborators, great teammates, and great leaders in the state of North Dakota. Thank you. A special thanks to the families of those that we have lost in the service of our state and nation, and those that we have lost after they left service because of invisible wounds and others. And I see a lot of you out there. We gathered a little over a month ago. You guys are always in my thoughts and prayers. Thank you for your service, your sacrifice, and being such incredible examples to all of us of grace and dignity. And I always say that when I meet with you guys, that, you know, empathy is not my strong suit. I hire people to do that for me. But spending time with our families of our fallen has made me a better person. So thank you for that. Okay. I saw my youngest son yawn, so I'm going to pick up the pace here a little bit. It's good. You like being called out, don't you, Gabe? For our ESGR volunteers, our honorary commanders, thank you for what you do for us. We have our current chair and past chair of ESGR here, Sherry Adams and Delton Steele. They're also both honorary commanders. A couple of my favorite people. When there's a hard job to do that pays nothing, I call Sherry or Delton. And they always say yes. So thank you for being here. Thanks for representing both ESGR and our honorary commanders that are in attendance today. My fellow tags. Now I assume 52 out of the 54 are watching online because only one made it here. But Major General Greg Porter, tag of Wyoming, his wife Robin. I knew you'd be here because I just know you. But you've been a great friend and a great leader, not just for Wyoming, but for the entire National Guard enterprise. So thank you for being here. Our former adjutant generals, you've all had a tremendous impact on me. I worked for General Haugen and General Bierke. Didn't work for Mac. Probably good because he scares me a little bit, but I admired what General McDonald did in his time. I appreciate General Bierke giving me a job and encouraging to do things that I didn't think I could do. And General Haugen also allowed me, after General Bierke, I'm like, no, I can do that. And then I went to General Haugen and said, can I do these things? And you always let me. You guys have been incredible mentors for me over the years. Thank you for being here today, and thank you for your service. Let's see, I thought that one would get applause. Okay. I'm just doing that because I assume I'm like nobody starting tomorrow, so I want to milk this former tag thing to make sure that I get some love down the road. A couple other folks, and I'm trying to get through this, but I want to recognize is I got two battle buddies here. And I don't know why they're not sitting together, but I got two battle buddies here from the 1st of the 48th Infantry of the 2nd Brigade of the 3rd Armored Division. We all served together in the mid-'80s. I have not seen them in 35 years, and they came in today. So Jim Caparelli and Mike Jones, and Mike, you're way over there, and Jim's over there. Yeah, if you say hi to Jim, strap yourself in, because there'll be a long conversation after that. But guys, thanks for being here. All right, now for the hard part. Thank you, my family. And the families that, the family I was born into, the family I married into, and the family that is the Department of Emergency Services, the North Dakota National Guard. I'm really trying not to look at you, Megan. It's a fortunate person who finds the right life partner in the right workplace that brings purpose to their life. I am one of those lucky people. To my wife, Becky, this day would not be possible, I can't look at you, without your unwavering support. I haven't added up the time I was gone or the family events I missed, but it was a lot. You raised our family. You're the glue that holds us together. When I felt I needed to deploy in 2004 to do my part, you supported me. When I volunteered a second time in 2009 to go to Kosovo, you supported me again. You have been mine and our family's rock. We appreciate you and we love you. And I'll take a short break here if you want to give her some applause. See, I think it would have been just fine without Megan breaking up. To my children, Megan, Ted, Will, and I almost said Will and Grace, which of course is a TV show for all you old people. To my children, Megan, Ted, Will, and Gabe, so proud of what you have accomplished in your lifetime. I look forward to what comes in the future. Your sacrifices have allowed me to serve this long. Thank you for your service. Be careful about this. I want to give a special thanks to Megan, who along with Becky, made me do a retirement party last week. Those that know me know that I absolutely dreaded as the retirement party approached. But once it happened, I very much appreciated all your efforts. So thank you for that, Megan. You're holding it together pretty well there. Thanks to my dad, who is here today with his wife, Sharon. For, most importantly, working with my mom to give me life. I'm going to talk a lot about teamwork today, so that's one example. But also for being a great role model and teaching me how to be a man, husband, and father. I remember him making me change the oil on our cars or watching me set the timing on a distributor so that I could do it myself someday. I guess Dad didn't see electronic fuel injection coming, but for those that know cars, they know what I'm talking about. So I still have a timing light, but I have nothing to use it on. But thanks, Dad, and thanks to Sharon for joining our family and being such an important part of keeping us all connected. So thanks for being here today. To my mom, who we lost almost 13 years ago, thank you. I'm sure she's looking down and thinking, I did not see this coming. In my early 20s, I think she feared I would still be tending bar at the Holiday Inn downtown Mankato at this point in my life. When I joined ROTC, her first question was, don't you need good grades for that? Which was strangely motivating. But when I returned home from airborne school prior to shipping to Germany, I remember her parading me around with pride in front of her bridge club. And I see that with so many moms. They're like, I don't know if I really want my kid in the service, but once they see him in uniform, they're like, no, that looks right. But Mom and Dad, thank you for all you have done for me over the years. To my sister Cheryl and her husband Mark, thanks for being here. I've always appreciated your support and your efforts to maintain communications with a brother that does not get high marks in that area. I inherited that in my bad hips from my father, so it's not my fault. But Cheryl, Mark, thanks for keeping us connected. And I also have some very supportive cousins, and I think I only got one here. And I know the other three would have loved to have been here, but thank you for your support over the years. It's meant a lot to me. Actually, Mike and I thought we'd have a comedy team thing at some point in our lives. Mike has a high opinion of his comedic abilities, but we probably could have made it work. And I know I want to give a special shout out, and I hope she's watching, to my Aunt Jan. Having an aunt like Jan is like having a second mom, but one that never gets mad at you. So that was because my real mom got mad at me. But thanks, Jan, for your love and support over the years. To my wife's family, which is about half this middle area here, thanks for your support over the years. It's a lucky man that meets the right life partner. It's a bonus when you marry into an incredible family, and a family rich with military history. Becky's dad, Wayne, and all 6 of Wayne and Pat's children, and Pat is here today. Oh, sorry. Well, her sister Mern's here, and her sister-in-law, Betty. But all 6 of the kids at one point were in the North Dakota Air National Guard, including Becky. Yep. But a rich tradition beyond that. At one point in my time as Adjutant General, I calculated that I was related to 1% of the North Dakota Air National Guard. Now that might not seem impressive, but it would be like the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff being related to 28,577 members of the Department of Defense. So that's impressive. And finally, to my work family. It has been the honor of my lifetime to serve with you. I would list the achievements over the past 8+ years, but they are your achievements, and I don't need to tell you what you did. The toughest part of my job was getting the right people into the right position, empowering them, and providing the resources and encouraging them, or in some cases, just staying out of the way to allow them to do great things. To State Radio, you guys are awesome. I know there's a couple of you out there at least. But when I first started, I'm sure I was not a strong enough advocate for what you do and what you need. I've tried to change that over the last few years after spending time with you. You truly are the first responders, the behind-the-scenes heroes that need to be at your best when our citizens are having their worst day ever, or when our first responders are under stress or threat. Thank you for your service you provide our citizens each and every day. To the Homeland Security Division, you guys are awesome too. Again, behind-the-scenes heroes that ensure we are prepared for and can recover from any disaster or emergency. The behind-the-scenes team that coordinates our whole of government, whole of society response. Again, a team that has to be at their best when our citizens are having their worst day ever. And you guys have risen to each and every occasion. To the North Dakota National Guard, my teammates for the Army Guard, Air Guard, and our civilian employees, thank you for your service to our communities, our state, and our nation. I've received a lot of accolades for what you have done over the last 8 years. Personally, individually, I don't think I've earned a single kind word or award, but you have. It's just the way the system works, that I'm the one that gets the plaque. Frankly, when I cleaned out my office, I was hoping to re-award some of these plaques rather than pack them and move them home. But unfortunately, they have my name on it, so I'm keeping them all. So if you wanted a plaque, go get your own. With that said, I don't want to sound unappreciative. Thanks to everyone who took the time to show me gratitude. I really, really do appreciate it. And one final word of thanks to the team that put today's event together. Really, truly was a cast of thousands led by Major Michelle Thompson and Miss Ida Erickson. But it includes the band, the MC, our proffers, the guy that yelled at me, telling me I was relieved. Where'd he go? Yeah, you're lucky I'm retiring. You'd be in such trouble. I mean, that was over the top. No need to be that emphatic about it. But to the whole team that put this together, thank you for doing that. To all our families, thank you. It's been talked about a lot, but it's a team sport. That includes our families. Thank you for your support each and every day. You know, emergency services and National Guard are team sports that goes beyond the uniforms that we wear as players. It includes our families, our employers, our civic leaders, our community volunteers, and our elected leaders. I've been truly blessed to play on these winning teams over the last 41 years. It has been the honor of my lifetime to be part of Team North Dakota, part of Team DES, and part of Team North Dakota National Guard. Thank you again today for honoring Brigadier General Johnson and Michelle and me and Becky with your presence. God bless you all. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. You and your family will be greatly missed. Please be seated. Now, a special presentation for Major General Dohrmann. It is only fitting that those who defend this country be honored with the presentation of the flag of the nation. Today, Major General Dohrmann will be receiving a flag that was flown in Kosovo, where he was twice deployed, and then flown at the North Dakota State Capitol, representing his love and commitment to the state of North Dakota. For more than 200 years, the American flag has been the symbol of our nation's unity, as well as a source of pride and inspiration for millions of citizens. Born on June 14, 1777, the Second Continental Congress determined that the flag of the United States be 13 stripes, alternating between 7 red and 6 white, and that the Union be 13 stars, white in a blue field representing a new constellation. Between 1777 and 1960, the shape and design of the flag evolved into the flag presented before you today. The 13 horizontal stripes represent the original 13 colonies, while the stars represent the 50 states of the Union. The colors of the flag are symbolic as well. Red symbolizes hardiness and valor. White signifies purity and innocence, and blue represents vigilance, perseverance, and justice. Traditionally a symbol of liberty, the American flag has carried the message of freedom and inspired Americans both at home and abroad. In 1814, Francis Scott Key was so moved at seeing the stars and stripes waving after the British shelling of Baltimore's Fort McHenry that he wrote the words to the Star-Spangled Banner. In 1892, the flag inspired Francis Bellamy to write the Pledge of Allegiance, our most famous flag salute and patriotic oath. In July 1969, the American flag was flown in space when Neil Armstrong planted it on the surface of the moon. Today, our flag flies on constellations of Air Force satellites that circle our globe and on the fin flash of our aircraft in harm's way in every corner of the world. Indeed, it flies in the heart of every American who serves our great nation. The sun never sets on our flag that we so proudly cherish. Since 1776, no generation of American has been spared the responsibility of defending freedom. Today's military remains committed to preserving the freedom that others won for us for generations to come. By displaying the flag and giving it a distinctive fold, we show respect to the flag and express our gratitude to those individuals who fought and continue to fight for freedom at home and abroad. Since the dawn of the 20th century, America's military have proudly flown the flag in every major conflict on land and skies around the world. It is their responsibility, our responsibility, to continue to protect and preserve the rights, privileges, and freedoms that we, as Americans, enjoy today. The United States flag represents who we are. It stands for the freedom we all share and the pride and patriotism we feel for our country. We cherish its legacy as a beacon of hope to one and all. Long may it wave. As a testament to the respect and camaraderie that define our armed forces, Major General Dohrmann has chosen to have his retirement flag presented by the 3 most senior enlisted in the North Dakota National Guard. These senior enlisted served alongside Major General Dohrmann through organizational sustainment, growth, and challenging missions. Their professional relationship is built on mutual respect, trust, and shared sacrifices. It is through the steadfast support and exemplary leadership of senior enlisted personnel that officers are able to lead effectively. Major General Dohrmann, for your 41 years of faithful service, please accept the national emblem of the United States of America as a token of our appreciation for your loyal and dedicated service to your country and as a symbol of the freedom that we all enjoy. If you are able, please rise for the playing of the Army song, followed by the Air Force song. Please remain standing if you are able as Chaplain Major Guion comes forward to give the benediction.
Let us pray. Lord God, you create each of us with gifts and abilities. You give us a span of years wherein you call us to use what you have given us for the improvement of the world. Our lives, selflessly offered, make the world better and provide us individually with purpose and focus. When we work for the betterment of others, we also better ourselves. Today we pray in gratitude to you for Major General Dohrmann and all the ways in which he has used the gifts you have given him to serve the citizens of the state of North Dakota, the service members of the North Dakota National Guard, and the United States of America. General Dohrmann has worked tirelessly to ensure that the airmen and soldiers of the North Dakota are, in fact, always ready and always there. He has pursued both proficiency and the well-being of the service members and the civilians under his leadership. We are grateful to you for how you have been, are, and will be at work in his life. We thank you for the gift of his family and the countless sacrifices they have made, allowing General Dohrmann to meet the responsibilities he has held throughout his career. As he transitions to new opportunities, Lord God, reward him for the good work he has done. May he take comfort in knowing that the North Dakota National Guard has, under his leadership, grown in its ability to serve the state and the nation. Bless General Dohrmann and his family. May their home be a place of safety and peace. Bless Brigadier General Mitchell Johnson as he takes on the role of Adjutant General for the state of North Dakota. Accompany him and his family with your good spirit as they begin this new adventure. Finally, we thank you for the lives of the soldiers and airmen of the North Dakota National Guard and the members of the Department of Emergency Services. Whether they are serving across town or across the globe, bless them and protect them always. We make this prayer through Christ our Lord. Amen.
Thank you, Chaplain Guion. Again, thank you, Major General retired Alan Dohrmann and Becky, for over 4 decades of service. We wish you the best of health and happiness in the future. This concludes today's ceremony. We invite everyone to stay and welcome our new Adjutant General, Brigadier General Mitch Johnson, wife Michelle, and their family for a short reception at the east end of the gymnasium. Please allow us just a few moments to move some chairs. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for the departure of the official party.